There we go. One thing we haven't talked about is the different papers. And one thing I do love to work with on occasion is a toned paper. This drawing is the toned paper that came from this tablet, toned gray, Strathmore. When you work on toned paper, you already have the mid-tone. And it creates a lovely base to where you're just adding your darks. Sorry about the glare. You're just adding your darks and lights. So this is where you would want a white charcoal pencil or a white pencil. You can use colored pencil on this as well. But don't expect to mix colored pencil. Like my colored pencils are Prismacolor. They're an oily base. They don't mix well with charcoal. So, and it just, one on top of the other. But I used the white charcoal. I think it was the charcoal white. It's General's. I don't know that one's any better than the other. General's white charcoal pencil to do the white part. And I just did the other dark part with a pencil. I prefer pencil charcoal rather than the kind you hold in your hand and it's all over you. I don't like compressed charcoal. Compressed charcoal comes in a stick, a block, and it's black. It comes in various colors. But my students at school hated it because they would get all over them. Now, vine charcoal is okay. Is that vine or willow? Does it say vine or willow?
Hold on. Vine.
Okay, let me show them. Yeah, put that on here. Yeah, vine charcoal is great. It's in little sticks, and I keep mine in a little Altoid thing because you don't need a very big stick. It's not too messy. Somehow the outside of it, it'll get on you, but it's not as bad as the compressed charcoal. This is also a gray tone, and if you want black, you won't get black with vine. It'll get dark gray. It'll get really dark, but it won't get as dark as those pencils that I had on your list. These Prima. Let's flip it around. So, all right. So Prima Elite Grande. That's black. So if you want really, really dark, vine charcoal won't get there. And then I also like it the fact that it's in pencil form and it doesn't make as mess. Now the bad thing is I can't lay it down and create a large swath of color like out here. I can just lay this flat and fill it in like that. So sometimes having the option to lay something down and cover a large area is good. But anyway, I wanted to remind you of those, and I'm going to let each of you try a little bit. We're going to do a little sketch on some brown tone paper. This was another, we'll try, this is what we're going to try this morning. It's brown recycled rough sketch paper. I just happened to be in, I don't know, his Hobby Lobby or Michael's when there were some things that were on clearance. And this paper happened to be like 70% off, so I got whatever they had. That was last year. So because I like to work on tone paper, it's very similar to a brown paper bag. So, and there's even artists who work on brown paper bag, not archival by any means, but it's another option. And then that is also similar to the toned tan paper that Strathmore puts out that is very similar to the gray toned paper. But you get this, to me, I love the tan part. There's a warmth to it that you don't have when you're working on, just stark white paper.
did you use on Max? Charcoal? The
Charcoal.
whole
Pencil.
time? You started out with a pencil drawing and then you went back with a charcoal
Right.
pencil?
Mhm.
And then just the black, or you use the gray?
I have charcoal
This
pencils
is-
and 3 levels.
Do you? Okay, in like 2B, 4B, 6B?
That's
Yeah,
what
you
I
want to
use.
take a look at them? I
Also-
didn't know I was buying charcoal at the time, so I had to go back and buy
Yeah.
graphite.
Also, there's black
Make a
paper.
line each and see what that-
Strathmore puts out a drawing paper that's coal black. It's really fun to practice on, to play with. Here is when you draw the light. All your dark is there. So you have to look for things to create light. This one was done with a silver colored pencil. So you just get the black paper. You can sketch it out in pencil, regular pencil. The graphite will leave a sheen, so you can see that. I wouldn't sketch it in white because you can't quite erase it as well. But colored pencil is what I used for this, and it's a lot of fun just looking for the light. Now, when you start drawing people, I had a cat. I don't know what I do with that. It's somewhere in the house, like a cheetah cat. That when you do eyes, your tendency is to trace the outside edge of the eye, but don't do that in white because it's not white, it's black. So you have to look for the light and not the black. So it's a play with your mind as well. But it is something that you would probably enjoy, and it just gives a whole nother look to things. There's one more I want to show you. I can't remember where it is.
I have to make sure.
I moved it. It's not where I thought it was. Okay.
I'm trying to.
All right, so I want to go over a couple of things with you, but I want you to each have a sheet of this. So take one and pass it around.
Where's your son's business in Florida? Yeah.
Oh, it's on Anna Maria Island.
Oh, okay. It looks really cool.
Pardon?
It looks really interesting.
And you'll need a pencil. And I think I have one,
Are we doing charcoal pencil or graphite pencil?
2, 4. That is charcoal. Well, I mean, just the pencil. Well, it doesn't matter because just to get the
Outline.
outline, yeah. All right. I thought I had more charcoal white. I have pencil
I
white.
have,
Who has a who does not have a charcoal white pencil?
Me.
mine came with all charcoal pencils, but white, so chances are it might be charcoal white.
Oh, it probably is. If the rest are charcoal.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're using white charcoal.
I want you to have, you can have a plain pencil to do a sketch with, or you can, I'm gonna give you some bind charcoal if you don't have that. And you need something that's white. And we might have to share the white.
I have one.
Sorry, I thought I had more of those. I didn't count. That's something I need to add to my list. I just want you to just get a feel for what it's like. And my lovely, okay, if you do not have any bind charcoal, raise your hand.
I did too. I don't know. I need my bag.
No, it's, I mean, you can,
I
here.
must have taken
No,
it
it's
back
fine.
out.
It's fine, I've got lots more than this. These are just the ones that are just
Okay.
broken up in pieces.
This is great, thank you.
Mhm.
You know what that is?
No, here, let me get some more out. I have it all. It'll be round. Vine charcoal will be round. And you'll want to break yours, Gail.
Ooh, I hate it.
I know. It goes against your grain to break
Yes.
something, doesn't it?
It does.
Okay, so, yeah, some of these have been pretty worn, so, because I've got some flat areas on them, because I've used them for some big spaces. But if you remember one of the days that we had that circular, drawing, and then you had, it was a shadow underneath it, and we can pull that out, but I'm just gonna play with the spheres right now. So either with your Vine charcoal or your pencil, whichever, and you don't want to bear down hard on a pencil because it'll create a dent. But I'm just going to see how I'm feeling the circular shape. So I'm going to just do this, and then I'm going to barely press down to get a feel for my round. So I'm not putting much pressure. So do that. I'm tilting the Vine charcoal so only one end of it hits.
Oh. So not the whole thing.
Not the whole thing. Yours is really tiny. Try this size. I've never seen any that skinny before.
Yeah.
Okay, so one thing I love about Vine charcoal is if I'm in a sketching class and I'm trying to catch something quick, charcoal to me is faster than pencil because I can lay it down and get a wide band of shading. And so just watch this real quick and then you can do yours. So I'm going to pretend that the light is coming from over here toward this, so I'm going to create a little darkness here. I'm just bearing down a little bit more. If I need to pick it up and just, hit it kind of like I do a pencil, I'm going to make this shadow up under here. Remember, we leave kind of an edge of reflected light, so we don't want it totally dark there. I'm going to create a background table edge. But what I'm looking at right now is these two are too similar in value. I want one darker than the other, so I can come in, I can bear down harder if I want to. But this again, when I blend it, and you can blend if you want, I just pick one of my fingers that I'm willing to get dirty. And when I blend the Vine charcoal, a lot of that lifts off. So it's not going to stay as much as some of the other charcoals. So you see how pale that is. So if I want it to stay darker and I want it to be more intense, that's when I get one of these other types of pencils like the Grande, and you use it more like a pencil, but you don't have to, you don't want a whole lot of dark unless you have, well, at least on this one, depending on what your picture is. So now I have more definition between my light and dark side. I can create a little more definition there. But now when I add my light is added where there wasn't any charcoal. you want to keep the white, wherever you're going to put the white, free of any color. If you want the background to be a little lighter, and you can actually buy little sticks that have white on them, but just by practicing and kind of playing with how the charcoal works and how loose and free it is, that gives you an idea of, do I want to play with charcoal or not? And do I want toned paper? You know, if I did the same thing on white paper, I would leave the white. You wouldn't be where the drawing was. I'm doing it on top of this paper so it has more of a texture. Again, just like with pencil, it's best if you do blending with a blending stump or that t-shirt that I gave you the first day. I did with my finger just because it's convenient and I had it handy. But if I was doing a real what I would consider something more than just a sketch, something that I might want to frame, something I might want to keep for a long time, I would want to avoid any greasy residue from my fingers. Even though you might not see it now, it can show up later. So in this case, if I want to see how I can lay the background down, create my own, and I can turn that heater off that's behind y'all. So how by creating the background here darker, it pushed that sphere forward. But because I'm working with charcoal, it didn't take very long. So I would like you to play with charcoal. It's a lot of fun, and it's very forgiving. I would use kneading erasers, not this kind of eraser, because kneading erasers don't leave eraser poo. That's what I call it. So what do y'all think about charcoal?
Yeah, I like it.
Okay, what I don't like about just glancing up here, I have this little line here. Something in the paper back here had a little crease in it. So it's like it was embedded in that. So be careful when you're working on top of other things that you don't transfer the design unless you meant to transfer the design. Yeah, there's a bend. Oh, there's just a bend in the paper, I think.
So I have a lot of residue here.
You might be bearing down. Well,
Too much.
yeah, you don't have to press hard. Now you're getting yours really dark.
Okay.
So, and that's fine. But if you want this really dark instead of doing that really dark, try that instead. You'll still get, anytime you use charcoal, you're going to always have some residue. You can't help it. There's certain things you can use to fix it, and I'll tell you about that. Ignore that. They don't know me, or they wouldn't be using that phone number. Okay, so like this sketch of a little girl was done in charcoal. And the parts that you see, like her hair right here, that are lifted out, that was done with an eraser. So put in what you want and then lift up right here. So sometimes you use a hard eraser and then you blow off the residue. Sometimes a kneading eraser will be enough to lift to get the illusion of hair. Now, I did her a while back, but see now look, I can drag my finger across it. And it's not because that's it, it's because I use this. This is Degas Fixative, and I put it in it might come in this spray bottle now. Before, if you sprayed it straight out of here, it would be speckled and not really a mist. This, you just put a light spray. I'll show you how simple it is, because you can use it. It's non-toxic, so you can do it indoors. And it's actually made from milk casein, is that how you say that? And high-grade alcohol. So I don't know the recipe, or I would buy vodka and milk and figure it out. But it darkens it to start with, but when it lightens up, it dries relatively clear. And sometimes if I have heavy, I'd probably hit her 3 times. But what I like about this product is if I do something in my journal that is a picture, I've gone back and sealed the picture, because I really don't like to do pencil or charcoal in my journals, but I did him. He was a little boy at the church where we were doing a vacation Bible school thing, and we just became friends. He was my little buddy. So one day he just he looked at me. I asked him if I could take his picture, and the next day I showed him his drawing, and he goes, we don't speak the same language, but he knew it was him. And but I had trouble with it transferring over here. So once I found this product, and this is a fairly new product on the market, I thought, oh, neat, because you can seal charcoal, pencil, pastel. And see, that was another thing about pastels. I love pastels, but I hate the fact you have to put them under glass.
Oh, you use that to seal your pastel?
And I did that with this one.
Okay.
Now some of them, I'm still not totally sold on it for all pastels, because it depends on how many layers of pastel I have under there. There's some that to me it has made it darker, but it also is workable. So if it made it darker, I can come back with pastels and add on top. But see, I can touch this, and before I wouldn't be able to.
So for a charcoal, you would spray maybe 3 times, and a pastel, you would spray how many?
Probably 3 too. But I mean, it's better to do 3 light coats and one heavy coat. But again, that's something I'm experimenting with, and I always like to experiment when if new products come out, something that allows me to hang a pastel without a glass. Because then you can hang it anywhere in the house. You don't have to worry about the reflection. Now, you can buy museum glass. I can't afford that. Museum glass is extremely expensive, but you can't tell it's there. It has no glare, and it doesn't take away from the artwork at all. But it is expensive. Thus the name.
In the 3 sprays, would you let it completely dry, then spray again?
Yes, yes. But I love the fact it's not toxic. I can spray indoors if I need to. I don't like anything that I have to deal with the weather. And I mean, I don't know how well this one did with, let's just test it. Okay, look. 1 spray. So to me, it's not too cheap. Now I think check Walmart. Walmart might actually carry this now, When I bought it, I had to, that it was shipped from California. But it was too exciting for me not to try it. It says soft pastels, oil pastel, colored pencil, chalk, graphite, charcoal, and much more on paper, canvas, ceramic, glass, leather, wood, stone, fabric.
You didn't order that from one of the art websites?
I think I ordered it from Spectrafix,
Oh,
you know,
Okay, direct.
Spectrafix.com.
Yeah, okay.
It's made in USA, which I like. Spectrafix.
Okay.
And it got its name because that's what Edgar Degas used to do with his work, and is fix it that way. So, hey, if he can do it,
Yeah.
why can't I?
Can you pull out that brown paper again? The brown paper.
The brown paper,
Yes.
the one that you'll
No,
probably.
The one you drew.
Oh, sorry.
Move forward, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And I'm going to stop this video at this point. And I'm going to go back, hit play, and see if it's working. Because that showed me. What? I didn't turn you off.